The Spirituality Now podcast is sponsored by Delaflor Teachings International, a spiritual and systemic coaching and consulting company with the mission to help individuals, businesses, and corporations create brilliant futures through sustainable transformation. Also sponsored by the Network for Human Empowerment, a philanthropic TV network that serves Spanish-speaking communities with free, conscious education aimed to empower individuals to become the best versions of themselves. And our podcast producer, Ascend Media, Authority Syndication, delivering premium video marketing, podcast production, and social syndication.
Welcome to the Spirituality Now podcast, a podcast committed to supporting you in your journey to life mastery and personal enlightenment. Welcome to the Spirituality Now podcast, a place where we don't use spirituality as a bias or as a band-aid or as an excuse to be higher than someone else or holier than thou. This is a place for practical spirituality where we do review, ancient wisdom for the modern times. I am an avid spiritual practitioner, meaning I don't burn sage all day. I don't meditate 24/7 in the lotus position. I actually focus on being the spiritual being inside of a body, embodying while in a human condition, and just being a good human. So we invite incredible guests that are actually taking spirituality into really practical levels in finances, in businesses, in parenting, in every single aspect that is needed in the world to bring more awareness, more consciousness, and more presence, and remove all the, like one of my mentors of branding and organization. I should call her my organization mentor, but her name is Emily Frisella. She always says, remove the woo-woo. I don't think that there's something more spiritual than the truth, than the facts, and just to be good, live good core values, and support others while you are alive to elevate and thrive. So I'm super excited. I have on the show a beloved friend of mine, incredible teacher, a true spiritual adept of consciousness, of awareness, that has earned the right for me to say that because she's been, I think since the womb, she's been practicing, but she's done the work for eons. Her heart is in the right place. She has thrived from what very few people can not even survive. And we've had her before in our Network for Human Empowerment television in Mexico. We've had her in some interviews in video. But today we have her in our podcast, and you'll feel her energy. You'll feel her transmission, which is beyond the words, but most important, hopefully you'll feel her invitation to live deeper, create a world of peace, to living deeper through the heart. Her name, my beloved friend, is Kia Scherr. Kia Scherr has spent 25 years studying, practicing, and teaching at the Sanctuary of Holistic Retreat Center in Virginia. After her husband and 13-year-old daughter were killed in the Mumbai terrorist attack of 2008, Kia co-founded One Life Alliance to teach peace education programs based on love, compassion, and forgiveness. She's the author of A Pocketbook of Peace, a guidebook to transforming life with love. Kia spent 6 years in Mumbai, India, working with business, education, and police. Her latest book, Forgiveness is a Choice, has now begun. It was released actually by Penguin Random House in India. And she's creating guided meditations for opening the heart to love. And she's truly an emissary of peace, a peace entrepreneur, and a true powerful embodiment of not only what a human woman mother is, but what a soul incarnated in a human body it's meant to become. Kia, my friend, welcome. Such an honor to have you here.
Thank you, Yvonne. It's a great pleasure to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad. So tell us a little bit about it, about your story. I just shared a little bit of your bio. I know our audience. In Latin America, some people know you and I've translated your message, but we have new audience in the Spirituality Now podcast and they don't know your experience. But first, tell us a little bit about your upbringing, your spiritual path on when you started meditating, what brought you into this world of really being aware that you were not only a body, but also a thinking mind, a conscious aware mind, and also a soul. Tell us a little bit about Kia's path.
Ah, well, the meditating journey began when I was 16. I had read the book about the Buddha, Siddhartha, and it was about life of the Buddha. And I said, that's what I want. I want to learn to meditate. And I had no idea how to begin that other than I was listening to music and reading books. And my friend and we saw a poster at a mall for a lecture on Transcendental Meditation. And so it was local that week. So we went to it. And I had saved up babysitting money. So we signed up and we learned TM. And then I got so much out of that. I took a couple of their advanced courses. And then I went to the teacher training program in Vitel, France. And at that point, because I got so much out of just pure being, it was the first time, that's when I first got out of my small mind and transcended the surface level and experienced the unbounded ocean of consciousness. And I wanted to be able to help make that available to everybody. So that was the first phase of that spiritual journey.
Wow, I love that. So your encounter, I love that you said that. I didn't know that about you, that was the life of the Buddha of Siddhartha. Do you know that I started meditating at 12, but random. Like, how do I meditate? I will sit down and repeat the word love, 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 figuring it out. But it was actually when I met my first former husband, that him, Enrique, and beloved father of my children, that he introduced me to the power of the present moment. And actually, he was already going into the retreats in Virginia where I met you, of spirituality, high meditation. But I read a book when I was 19. So I was already in the path. I already had a near death experience that was super detonating for me. But I read the book of the Buddha, the same book that you read.
Oh
And
my
that,
God, that's
know,
great.
yeah, I know. That's why it's the first time, if you don't say this, I will have forgotten that. And I remember when I was reading the life of Siddhartha, the palpable experience. You said the ocean of bliss, and it would lead you to transcendental meditation. For me, I experienced in each of my cells on my body the power of the present moment. I was so in awe that there was such a quite a dramatic and drastic change of before and after, right? It was my life completely changed with that book. So I just wanted to tell you because it was
That
like,
is,
wow.
that's a synchronicity, isn't it, of another kind?
Absolutely. And that's so amazing because we know each other for more than 20 years. And this is the first time that it's like, wow, you too, that book.
I know.
Wow, those books are portals. And I also encountered transcendental meditation. So you just said did you say the vast ocean of bliss?
The unbounded ocean of consciousness.
See how I'm changing it? The unbounded ocean of consciousness. Please share with us a little bit how that felt and what that is for you.
Well, that's a place of no thoughts. And I think it happens briefly at first and gets more extended. But when you transcend thought, at some point, that which is beyond thought, that which we're conscious of something. We're conscious of speaking right now. We're conscious of the computer, the microphone, headphones, or whatever's going on, the air conditioning, water, a glass of water here. We're conscious of X, Y, Z. But underneath the conscious of is consciousness itself. And there's an aware presence there, experiencing the water, the computer, the voices, the sounds that's inside this body of ours that's getting processed through our brain. but there's a certain awareness, we could say pure being, pure awareness, pure consciousness. To me, these terms are all synonymous, and it doesn't have any boundaries. It doesn't have, it just is. And that's the now that you're talking about. The power of the now is
Right.
that's what that is. And
Yeah.
it's being aware of awareness itself, that consciousness just is aware of itself.
Mm.
It fully knows itself in meditation when it
Yeah.
goes beyond all the experiences and experiences the source of it all, which is like the experiencer. Who am I? Well, that which is living, experiencing, but what's underneath it all? There's some awakeness, aliveness. Something is aware. That's the consciousness, and that has no boundaries.
Mm. I love this. We are already, I'm already feeling the transmission beyond the words, and I'm experiencing right now what I call the aware witness, right? The conscious witness,
Yeah,
witnessing itself, watching from a space of no thought, which
right.
it is so funny, that we can that to try to convey the space of no thought with thoughts and words, right? It's such an incredible paradox. It's the lila, the play of consciousness of like, how do you share what is unshareable with the words, but it's only um, understood through experience. But anyways, I can just really stay there. But so you experience this, you go into transcendental meditation. I believe you were with Maharishi, the creator of
Yes.
for 20 years, right? How was that experience? I'm always so curious about Maharishi because I love transcendental meditation. In spite of a lot of criticism that he has received, and you know how everyone that is dead receives more criticism sometimes, or anyone that has created great things will experience antagonic things. So I'm not sure, but tell us your experience.
I mean, I only met personally with him twice, but even that was rare. So I feel privileged to have been able to do that, and that was actually receiving in some individual instruction in meditation, and then we received some advanced techniques. And then I was around a lot in a lot of courses that he gave to large groups of people. So I heard him speak. He was just so clear and seemed to, I mean, he was obviously one with that experience. He was living unity consciousness, and even beyond that, a Brahman consciousness. And he really helped to delineate and explain the subtleties of all of those things. So, I mean, he was quite a master of meditation, quite, and very pure. And you could feel that in his presence, as with all masters, you feel that presence and you begin to settle down into the, essence of your own being in those situations. So I really loved all that. And then it became a very large movement. And so then once I got married and had children, there was less contact, obviously, with those intimate courses with Maharishi himself. And my husband, Alan, was just a voracious, spiritual seeker and always
I
wanted
remember.
more and more and more. And we're living in the DC area in Maryland. And he learned about Master Charles Kennan, who was only 3 hours away. And he said, well, here's a spiritual master we can actually go meet. And he guides people and he uses technology, to give the same effect as the powerful mantras, because it's all vibration. It's a frequency of sound. And the Sanskrit is a pure, pure frequency, sound vibrations that's harmonic with our nervous systems. And Master Charles created that effect using sound technology. So we went to synchronicity. Alan went first to synchronicity, and then we eventually migrated over there so we could have more direct guidance from a spiritual master, and that began that one for another 20 years. So yeah, that was another experience. And then after the Mumbai terrorist attack, that started a whole another chapter, which was instead of just basking in the depths of the ocean, I floated up to the surface and rode the waves, but with the support of that unbounded ocean of consciousness.
Wow, you're so beautifully explained and shared. And I say